everyone, good morning. It's about 11 o'clock in the morning here. It's the 16th of August 2021. Apologies for being absent for so long. It turns out I ended up getting COVID. I ended up in the hospital, but I am pretty much back to normal now. So thanks for joining me today. I'm going to be taking a look at a lot of different things. Taking a look at a lot of different things. I'm going to take a look at Bitcoin. I'm going to take a look at the indexes. I'm going to take a look at NASDAQ, the S&P 500. I'm going to take a look at Russell, trying to determine whether or not this whole Afghanistan thing is actually going to cause any kind of tangible moves in the markets that are going to be long lasting. So, of course, before I get into any of this, as you all know, this is not financial advice. I'm not your financial advisor. You're responsible for your own trades, managing your own risk, doing your own research, and I'm just giving my opinion on the markets. So let's go ahead and move into the charts and take a look. I'm going to start on Bitcoin today. Excuse me. All right, I'm going to start on Bitcoin here, and I've got the daily chart. I've got the daily chart here because what I want to do is I want to take a look at this from a from a higher time frame perspective. I may actually be really interested in taking a look at this on maybe like a 2-day or a 3-day, just to kind of compress things just a little bit. Let's do this. Let's change the interval to 2-day here, just so that we can kind of zoom in just a little bit more. We can get a little more clarity on this. From our high here, I think this is important. Obviously, this was a dominant high. And so what I want to do is I want to basically map it out from there, and just to see if we're still in line with what the charts are kind of showing us. And I want to show you a little bit of a different perspective here compared to what I've historically discussed. So first off, from this top up here, we can count this really easily as an A, B, C here into the B, and then we go down into the C. And then from there, we've got a nice compression that we saw over time. Nice compression. We had our final move up there, but this compression was pretty clear that we were going to break in one direction. And the fact that we had this, I still remember this day when this happened. It was a big push up, and then it just got sold into. That was a pretty clear indication that we were going to be going down. And, of course, we ended up doing that. So I'm not going to spend the time, but this is a nice little A, B, C, D, E, right? I guess I can go ahead and do it. It won't take that long to do. So let's just go ahead and mark this out. We have our A, B, C, D, and then E. And that was completely valid. The question is whether or not the D is here, the D is here. That doesn't really matter so much. Fact of the matter is, E did not go beyond the C, and so this is a valid wedge. And it is perfectly acceptable for wave E to go outside of our trend line, as long as it doesn't cross paths where the C was. And it did not. It did not. So that worked out quite nicely. Then, of course, we had our last move down. Right, so we can count this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have a nice, actually clean 5-wave structure down. So from here, a nice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. At the time, that was really messy. It was really hard to really get a good grasp on what was happening at the time. But as we see it now, it really makes a lot of sense. From there, we have a nice 1 ABC here into the 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5. Right? So there's good subdivision all the way up. A good subdivision all the way up. Even from here, there's a nice little 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then down here into the 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to finish that move. All right? So that works really, really pretty well. We've got a nice 5-wave structure up, which, in my opinion, I've discussed this before. This is just wave 1. I'm going to change the degree on this, and this obviously is wave 2. I think we have an obvious wave 3, working on wave 4, and then 5. So let's just talk about this here for a second. And I may have to do a little bit of a refresh on this chart. So let me just upload this, and let me refresh here for just a second. and get this on here. Okay. All right, here we go. So I'm going to change the degree on this guy. So we're going to increase the degree. We're going to change it to a nice minuet. And I suppose maybe we can change the color on him to green, because this is our primary count. This is our primary count. All right, so I'm going to move it over because we've got our nice finishing move down here, which I think is a higher degree wave 4, and now we're working on wave 5. So we've got the 1, 2, and we can easily count a nice ABC move down on this wave 2. So from up here, we've got a nice A, B, kind of an expanded flat into the B, and then we go down for the C. This works. All right, so now that we've got a nice 1, 2, then we're working on the wave structure up to where I currently have wave 3. That's this guy up here. So let's just take a look at this here for a moment. So I believe that this is actually wave 1 right here, and then we go down for wave 2. I think wave 3 is right here. Then we go down for wave 4. And then we finish wave 5 as an ending diagonal. All right, so let me just change the color on this guy here. We'll give him a nice little pink color. All right, so we've discussed this also in the past. So this is kind of a recap, I suppose. But here we have a pretty clear ending diagonal, right? So we've got our upper, we've got our lower right there. So that works pretty well. And of course, that would be counted as, from the low here, a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a little messy, but it works. And the only reason why I say that it's messy is because you're going to have some Elliott wave people that are going to look at that and they're going to say, that's not valid because look at how long wave 1 is compared to wave 3. Well, wave 3, it doesn't have to be the longest. It just can't be the shortest. And wave 5 is definitely shorter than wave 3. Like, yeah, I don't really like the fact that wave 1 went so far, but it's still a valid ending diagonal. So in my opinion, this still works. The narrative that we are looking at still works. And again, on these lower degrees, from this low, again, I can still count a 1, 2, 3, compression for the wave 4, and go up for the wave 5 to finish wave 1. All right, this still works. It still looks good. It still looks nice. Again, here is that compression that I was just discussing, right? So we do have the compression here on this wave 4, and I can try and make it look a little bit better, but at any rate, here is what we've got finishing this wave 3. So, right, so we've got a nice clean, in my opinion, 5-wave structure up, and we can get some subdivision here into this wave 3 if you really want to. So let's just look at this. From down here, we've got a little 1, 2, and then we've got this 3, 4, and then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to finish that wave 3. In my opinion, this works pretty well. What's my point? What am I trying to get at here? Well, my point that I'm trying to get at here is I don't think we are done correcting, right? I was saying on the Discord that we were going to find a bottom at 28K, right? So obviously we went down not quite to 28, but we got down below 29 and we found support there. I mean, numerous times, right? We found some support down there. So what is it that we've got going on here then? Well, from here, from the top, we've got a nice 1, 2, 3. You can try and get this right. 3, 4, 5. All right. Nice 5-wave structure down. All right. So that works. And again, in my opinion, what that is right now, what this is that we are in right now, is wave A, and then working on wave B, then we go down for wave C, which is going to be where wave 4 is. Okay? So I still firmly believe that this is in the cards. And I know I'm probably going to catch a lot of flack for it, but this is what I see. And there's a lot of evidence to support that this is what's actually going to be happening here. And I've been talking about this for a while, that we were going to see somewhere in the 20s, okay? Somewhere in the 20s, more than likely, is what we were going to see. I'm going to take a look at this on both logarithmic and on arithmetic. Now, because of the parabolic move, I'm going to draw a channel, and I'm going to draw the channel based on the logarithmic scale. Okay? So, first off, let's just go ahead and get our tool, which is going to be our fib channel tool. I'm going to peg this off at the top of wave 1 right there. And taking a look at this, look at how clean that is compared to the top of our ending diagonal. It's pretty close. It's pretty close. I'm going to try and tag it all the way at the top of where that wave 3 is right there. And let me pull this guy down, because we have to get an idea for where we're potentially going to create this bottom. And again, the longer this takes, are we going to go into January of 2022? It is so possible that we go this far, out. It's extremely possible, which means this wave B could go up a little bit higher, and I actually do expect it to go a little bit higher. To be fair, I do expect wave B to go up a little bit higher, and it's also very possible that it takes a little bit more time to resolve. I'm not going to rush going into a short here, but my bias is that we're going to potentially do something a little bit like this. I think we're probably going to see a little bit of a move up, and then we're going to see this, then we're going to see this, and then we're going to see this. I think it's going to look a little bit like that, so which means that this wave B could come all the way out here potentially to that November-December time frame, right? And it could go higher. It could go higher than this. It's very possible it could go higher than this, all right? Again, this is my rugged path for how we get there. But this is where I think we're going, right? And if I zoom in a little bit more, and let me go to the daily here. I'm going to go to the daily. What do we have off of this wave 5? Well, we didn't create a new low here, which in my opinion means that we are in the middle of 1, 2. And then I think we've got our 3 here. We've got our 4. And then we're working on this 5. It looks very similar to this guy right here. What we are dealing with right now looks very similar to what we were dealing with back here. It's just on a smaller, more compressed time frame, right? So going into wave B, well, what potentially is in the middle of being created here. Once we get this 5, probably going to get an ABC, probably going to land somewhere around 37, 38,000. Change this guy. Try and get the same degree on here. I'm going to change it to the micro so that it matches. Okay. I think we're going to get a little bit something like this going on, right? I think we are going to get that last move up, a little push up. Then I think we're going to get a nice little A, B, C, all right? Something like this. And then I think we're going to get a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Where is this going to go? I tend to think that like 54 is probably going to be the high that we're going to get there. But let's just look at this, using some of our tools that we use all the time. I'm going to use my fib retrace on this. And I'm going to use my fib retrace on this both on logarithmic and on arithmetic, because I think it's important to do that. All right. So right here, we're getting rejected, and I'm on log scale. We're getting rejected at the 618 right now. Like, it literally happened today. We got a rejection at the 618. That's important. Okay? I can't tell you guys how important that is. So, again, we're on log scale. Let me take ourselves off of log scale, and let's take a look at this on arithmetic. All right? Well, we're kind of at the 50. And again, I'm looking for that wave 5. I was pretty close. Right up here. Get that wave 5 up at 51,000. Is that going to happen? I think it will. I think it will. I would be looking to short at 51. I mean, maybe you can start layering here, right? I mean, obviously it would have been nice to catch it a little bit higher at about 47, 48,000, almost 48. The high was, yeah, 48,053. That would have been right at the 618 on the logarithmic scale. But now, looking at this on arithmetic, we've got that high there at about 51K. Probably going to see a little bit of a bounce there at the 382, which is going to be at about 42.5. Then we're going to see a little bit of a bounce, probably right there at the 50, which is going to be at 46.8. And I'm just using fib levels for this. And then this bottom, this lower here, potentially down to 37. I could totally see that happening. I'm not going to get too much into the weeds on what could happen in the future, but I think that a move up to the 786, this is going to be at 57, is more than likely where that wave B is going to be. What's this going to do? If we do this, what's going to happen? Well, you're going to have a lot of people that are going to be saying, all right, this is the December pump to new highs. You're going to have so many people that are going to be so extremely bullish up here. It's going to be ridiculous. And just wait, because it'll happen. It'll happen. So again, I think we're going to get a bit of a pullback. We're going to shake out some people that are high leverage long. They're going to get busted out. Basically their faces are going to get ripped off. And from down here, back below 40K, I think any price below 40K is good for a play to the end of the year. But I think after we hit this, potentially at the 786, again, let me go back to log scale and see where we're at there. That 786 is going to be at about 54,500. Okay, so it could be that we stop there, right? One way or another, no matter how you slice it, buying anywhere below, below 40K, maybe we'll call it 39K. Buying below there is probably good up to the end of the year. But then I think that we're going to see that pullback. And again, I'm looking at the channel on the log scale. This channel right here, I think we're going to see that pullback down here. All right. Again, let's measure wave 2 to wave 3. I'm going to put it over here and try and tag it as close as I can. It's not going to be perfect. But where's that 382? Combined with that channel, we're looking at March of 2022 for Bitcoin to potentially hit 21,963. We'll call it 22K. And again, we're looking at this to happen in March of 2022, March 23rd of 2022. All right. What do we know about March? For the last two years, look at this. March of 2020, drop, March 13th, 2020. And what do we have over here? Well, actually, this was May. This was May, to be fair. Let's see here. What did we have that happened in March? March was a big push up, right? So first was down, second March was up, and I would expect that the next one's probably going to be down. People refer to that as alternation. If you take a look at March of 2019, what happened in March of 2019, we had our slow grind up before we exploded upwards. And then March of 2020, it moved down. In March of 2021, it was moving up. And in March of 2022, more than likely, we're going to be seeing a move down. And this channel, I think, is going to be the important channel that we need to be paying attention to. So moving down to about 22K. And I think from there, right? So again, taking a look at this, going from November, December, I think we're going to see that move down. From there, I do believe that we move up. And I think we move up significantly. Excuse me. All right. How high do we go? Well, I'm probably only going to be targeting about 100K, right? I don't know how long it's going to take. I don't know when it's going to hit. Nobody is going to be able to tell you how long it's going to take. Nobody is going to be able to tell you where it hits. But I think that taking that move from 22 to 25K, right, I would be very interested in buying spot down here next year. I think it's very easy for you to pull 5x returns on that. I think it's very possible it does hit 100K. I think it's also very possible that it caps out right here at this negative 236, which is at 127. It's at 127,261, which, you know, and not to be like too geeky or anything about this here, but Bitcoin is a crypto asset, cryptography, which is computer based, and 128K is that's a number that is meaningful in computer world. So not that that has anything to do with what the price is going to be doing. That 128K is very likely, if it does hit that, I would be highly interested in just basically leaving the crypto atmosphere completely at that point, because I think that's probably where it's going to go. If it continues going higher, well, then that's fine, because if it goes down here to 25K, I'm going to be loading up, and I'm going to be looking to get out at 128. And if I can catch that trade, then that's a ton of money potential that could be made there. Of course, there's always alternates. There's always an alternate that this is a 1, 2, and then we're just going to just fall off the face of the earth. I don't think that's going to happen, at least not right now. I think that potentially with what we've got going on right now, we have a little bit more up to go. We see a little bit of a correction, and then we see another move up before the end of the year. And then next year, I think, is going to be where we're going to see a little bit of a pullback. And then, maybe a year or two down the road, that move, after we get down into 25K area, we can take that and we can make 4 or 5x from there. But I think it could take a decent amount of time. All right, so again, I talked about Bitcoin for 21 minutes. I'm not going to be doing that for the S&P. I'm not going to be doing that for NASDAQ. I'm going to be just taking a look at things and just kind of figuring out where we're going from here. Looking at the S&P on the, let's go to the hourly here, and let's just take a look and see, because I think things are finally starting to kind of base a little bit. I haven't actually touched this chart since being in the hospital. So let's just go ahead and take a look at this. So I think this wave 5 is out here. This wave 5 is out here, and I think this is actually wave 3 here, and this would be wave 4 over here. I think this fits a lot better from this 1, 2, and then 3, 4, and then finishing this move up here. I think it's very possible we have one more move up. I was just talking to somebody earlier today, and I think it's important to mention the market only knows how to do one thing right now. The market only knows how to buy the dip. That's the only thing the market knows how to do right now. And the other thing that's important to realize is that stocks can move down 3 times faster than they move up. And this, Bitcoin is a really great example of this, but it does happen in stocks all the time. Where we'll take the steps up and take the elevator down. That is what happens when you have a significant amount of distribution. So today, so far, we've seen a little bit of a pullback, but I'm not too overly concerned about what's going on here today. I do think that we are going to see a little bit of a bounce. I think it's probably going to come back up to about 44 area. From there, if it can reclaim that, I think it can go higher. If it can reclaim 44.50, if it can get back up above these levels, and the reason why these levels are important is, again, look left, because we're in blue sky territory, right? The only price action that we have in this area, we have only had since August 11th, okay? So for me, looking at this right here, this level right here, if we can overtake that, which is at 44, right? That level, if we can overtake 44, well, then I think what we can get is, a pullback and then a move to new highs. If we can't do that, well, then we've got some problems. What needs to hold right now? Well, I'm pretty sure that the low of the day is the most important level right now that needs to hold. And again, just look left. That's all you have to do sometimes. It's just as simple as looking left, right there, right? We have resistance, kind of a breakthrough of that resistance. Then we had support, and naturally we tested that today, and it provided a little bit of support. So we should have some support here. This is important support, because if we break this, well, then again, look left. What's our next level that is important for us? this level right here. Because if we break down below the low of today, and if we break below it in a clean way, and that's at 44.32, we'll call it 44.32, we're going to 44.16. What happens if we break down below 44.16? Well, again, just look left. What's the next level that's important? And I would say it's probably this level right here. And the reason why I would point out this level is because, let me get my brush here, we've got a nice cluster here, a nice cluster here, nice clustering here, we've got a nice cluster here. So all of those points are important. 43.81 if we break down, right? So again, you just have to look left sometimes. It's sometimes as simple as that, just looking left, finding where the previous pivot points were, determining where your support and resistance levels were, and that's where you can find areas to take a trade, right? I was in a bearish trade on VIX. Well, really, it was bullish on VIX, but VIX goes up when the market goes down. I was able to pull 65% on that trade on Friday. It's when I got the trade, and I got out of it today. And I got out of it because it looked like we were getting to an area of support, and things looked like they were starting to finally find a little bit of support and bounce, because the market is in buy the dip mode, and the market doesn't know how to do anything else otherwise. Right? I didn't see anybody else taking bearish trades on Friday. I mean, heck, I kind of had my face ripped off so far on a trade that I took, and I'm willing to admit it, because people take bad trades, right? But the most important thing is that you make more good trades than you take bad trades, and when you have bad trade, you know when you need to get out of it. And right now, I'm not ready to cut the trade, but I may before the end of the day, depending on how things go. But at any rate, it looked like we were finding an area for a bounce, which is why I got out of my calls that I had on UVXY. They were calls on UVXY that I took, and I was able to pull 65% on that trade. I hope that people in Discord were able to take that trade as well. So this is what my thought is on ES. On NASDAQ, I mean, this looks pretty bad. It looked okay at the beginning of the day. Right? It looked okay right at the open, but then it just got sold off. So what do we have here? Let me just kind of clean this off just a little bit. And again, I haven't touched this chart either since I was in the hospital. So this is all stuff that we've got that's kind of old. Okay, so taking a look at this, back here we were talking about higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low. We've got a higher low here. Are we going to start making some lower lows? Well, what this actually looks like to me, taking this guy here, it looks a little bit like we have a little bit of an expanding diagonal here, which can be seen as a bullish continuation pattern. If we take out the low of today, which is about 14.916, if we take out 14.9 on NQ, and again, this is on futures, not on NDX, this is on futures. If we take out 14.9, well, then that really opens things up for a move much lower. We'd be looking at about 14.850 right there. See the support, kind of tried to break down, but recovered. Support, same thing here. Had some clustering here. We had resistance here, support here. So this is an important level. That's it. We'll call it 14.850. If that level breaks, well, then let's take a look at what comes next. And I think it's going to be right around here at about 14,600. That's a significant move down. Do I think it's going to hit? Well, this level here at about 14,775 is equally as important. If this breaks, then I do think we're going to 14.6. But a lot of it is dependent on what happens at 14.850 if we get there, right? So we've got a nice little trend line here. We already, again, just like we saw on ES, we found some support there. We need to bounce. We need to bounce from here. And again, I don't know how this whole Afghanistan situation is going to affect financial markets, and I think it will. And I think it will in a significant way. I think we have the knee-jerk reaction today. I think there's going to be, buy the dip moments. People are going to be buying the dip. Looking at our waves indicator, I think the 3-hour shows that there is more downside. If you take a look at ES, let's just go back and take a look at this, because I didn't take a look at the indicator. The 3-hour shows that there is, potentially some more downside coming. later this week. I think for today, we've had all the downside that we're going to get. Let's take a look at RUT. I don't often take a look at RUT, but I'd like to take a look at it today. So the Russell 2000, looking at it on the daily, excuse me, it's down only 1%. That's not terrible. That's not significant. We are in a range, right? And so I do talk about ranges every once in a while. So let's get our range here. So we've got our top right here. I'm going to try and get this. And then we've got our lower down here. All right. So this is basically where our trading range is on Russell. Every time it gets below this guy right here, which is at about 2150, we'll call it 2150, we find a bounce, 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 bounce. And same thing happened a couple weeks ago in mid-July, right? We got below 2150 and we bounced. So what's happening right now? Well, I think we actually are probably going to find some support, and I think we are going to bounce. I think it's probably going to move back up here to about 2280. Would I be interested in shorting at 2280? Yeah, actually I would be. I would be. I do think that, you know, just like I was talking in other markets, like ES, NQ, even Bitcoin, I think we're going to see a bounce, and then I think we're going to see a longer term decline, because the more often a support zone gets hit, the less likely it's going to hold the next time. Okay? So that's an important lesson for everybody. So we've already hit this 1, 2, 3, 4 times. That 5th time that it hits, it's not going to hold. I don't believe it's going to hold. And maybe it goes even lower. Maybe it goes all the way down to 1950, 1960. But again, I would be interested in putting in a short at the 2280 range. Now, of course, I'm on the actual RUT index on RTY. It's probably going to be different. It's going to be a different price for RTY. Oh no, actually, it's pretty much right on about 2280. That's where I would think that we're probably going to see Russell go. And again, looking at this, we've got this wave 3, which completed this wave 5. And then we're working on, from wave 3, we're working on wave 4. And this looks a lot like a wave 4. What we've got going on right here looks a lot like a wave 4. So I would say that it probably is going to come back down here to about 1960, maybe 1950. Somewhere down here, more than likely, it's going to fall. Because this does not look like a wedge. Doesn't look like a wedge at all, right? This looks like Tesla. If I take a look at Tesla, I'll do this here for just a moment, kind of zoom out a little bit. This whole area right here in Tesla, this looks like what RUT looks like right now. It looks like right here, and then this is what I think we're going to be getting on Russell. What we saw from January of 2016 through about February of 2016, it took about a month. I don't think that's going to be what happens on Russell. I don't think it's going to take that long. But I think we're going to be getting something like this on Russell. So again, let's just take a look at this. On RTY, if I had to project where potentially this was going to go, I would use my trend-based fib extension tool. Again, we use our tools. All right, we're going to try and get this as close as we can. So right there, we get our high there. And then we're looking at, well, maybe it only goes down as far as 2000, right? So we've got our 100% equality right here at about 2076. The 123.6 is at 2017. I would say actually if it did come back down here, then it's actually going to be going much lower, probably down to 1700, which is kind of scary. This is on log scale. If I get on an arithmetic scale, we're still looking at a move down to about 2000. So I would say for Russell, 2000 is probably the low. Probably the low. So again, just have to give it some time. It could take a significant amount of time for us to get there, but that 2000 level for Russell is probably where things are going to go. That's a significant move. That's a 200-point move from where we're at right now. I don't know how long it's going to take. It could be that it takes a month. It could be that it takes 2 months for us to get down there. But once we start hitting these levels, I think it's very important for us to be considering taking equity positions. The waves indicator actually it was talking about buying. It was talking about buying earlier. The 12-hour is still showing some downside. There's not really any sign that we are in a true recovery, but the bounce for sure was kind of expected for the reasons that I've already mentioned. We are in buy the dip mode. That's the only thing that we know how to do in this market is buy the dip, and I think that's exactly what's happening right now. Okay, so yeah, that's basically it. Let me take a look and see if I don't have any requests in the chat, so I'm gonna go ahead and end the video. I've been talking here for about 35 minutes. I know 20 minutes or so was Bitcoin, and I hope this helped you. If there's anything that you want me to take a look at, you can get a hold of me in Discord. I am back, basically back to almost back to normal. So again, thanks for watching. If this video did help in any way, shape, or form, you know the deal. Like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. If you need access to our Discord, BitDoctor.org, there's 4 different ways for you to access the Discord. There's the free community. There is the indicator access, which gives you access to all of our indicators. There is access to the insured area where we talk about trades. We take equity trades. And then there's also the insured plus, which is where we take a lot more advanced options trades, spreads, things like that. So if that interests you, BitDoctor.org is where all that information is at. And of course, wherever you're on the world, I hope you're having a good day, a good night, and a good evening. Take care, everyone.